restrict that by 30%, you will activate your sirtuins. And it will work in rats. If you want your rats to live twice as long in the lab, just cut down their food. They'll be angry and they'll bite you.
There's some humans doing this too. It's called caloric restriction.
Yeah.
There's a caloric restriction society. But you got to say, okay, let's say you increase your lifespan by 10 or 20%, but you were starving the whole time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're back to quality of life.
Yeah, quality of life.
But what if you had a pill that allowed you not to have to starve? Right?
Well, and you may have one. This is what
there is one out there.
Yeah, they're in phase 2 FDA-approved trials, and this pill could be available. And they may put it out as a nutraceutical as well, which means that you wouldn't have to have a prescription. So get ready. I mean, it's coming. Maybe as soon as 5 or 10 years from now, a fountain of youth pill.
David, I'm curious, as you did the research on your own body, what are the few things that surprised you about yourself, and how has that changed behaviors or lifestyle or just outlook that you might have?
Well, one of the reasons I was able to do this is because, as I said, I come from a healthy family. I think if we had a lot of disease or illness, I might have felt differently about this. So I didn't expect to get that much. But I mentioned the heart disease, and actually it was more than just the genes. I had a company run a very extensive series of tests that included things like blood chemistry, cholesterol, triglycerides, a CT scan of my heart, about 40 or 50 different risk factors. And they put that into a huge algorithm in a computer. And as I say in my show, they stirred gently. It's like a recipe. They add all this, they stirred it up, and they came up with a prediction. And they also compared me against populations of real patients. And I came up with a very high risk factor for heart attack. And when I went to see my internist at the beginning of the project, which is what I did first, he gave me a very low chance for heart attack based on standard of care today. And that was a surprise. And it turns out, though, that that's based on me gaining a modest amount of weight. It's about a pound a year. I have a 40% risk factor for heart attack in 10 years and 70% if I gain a pound a year, which is the average weight gain for a man over 40. However, if I have no weight gain, it's a 2% risk factor for 20 years. It's just basically a flat line. And if I take statins, which boost which lower your cholesterol, it's 0%. So that is, right in a nutshell, the future of personalized preventive medicine. It gives you 3 choices, and then it's up to me. I actually went out and lost 10 pounds. I mean, I don't want to be on that trajectory of doom there, which I, in fact, was on at the time. And so this is what it's all about. It's giving you choices. And so I found that out. There were a couple of other things. One of the other ones being that I'm not going to probably eat a lot of swordfish in the future.
So in my career as a physiologist, I too am pushed to customizable healthcare and predictive markers. So let me try and frame this in a question. It's going to come off as a comment. We've had this discussion about ethical decisions on colorectal cancer, and we've had conversations about cost, and we've had conversations about impact on healthcare. The one word that hasn't come up that's sort of the white elephant in the room is this term obesity. And it's the single most preventable disease, yet we can't get the rate of incidence under control. So again, that's a comment, and I would sort of like response. All these tools, all these techniques, myself included, I'm in the game, yet we ignore this phenomena or epidemic of obesity. So comment, please.
Well, I think there are a lot of lifestyle choices that people make that are damaging, and physicians, including my internist, said, all you're going to find out at the end of this is what you already know, which is you should exercise and eat well and not smoke and things like that. And in a lot of ways that's true. And in fact, preventive medicine starts with just those simple things. Eat a decent diet. But I don't know. I mean, part of medicine right now is really focused on trying to get patients to take care of themselves. And we in this country don't make people do that. Although some insurers are beginning to, certainly smoking. A lot of employers now won't insure you or give you less insurance if you smoke. And that's becoming yet another incentive for people, I suppose. But obesity is an enormous epidemic, and things like diseases like diabetes and other related heart disease are direct output from that. And if you give somebody this fancy test I had with this algorithm, with me it convinced me to. I mean, I thought I was already taking care of myself, and I certainly wasn't obese. But in that case, it gave me information I didn't have already. But some of these tests, some doctors tell me they order a cholesterol test for somebody just to give them a number that might convince them they need to take care of themselves. And so it becomes more of a spur than a real, medical diagnostic. But it's a huge question. And, we're splitting off in our population, too, people who take care of themselves and those who don't. And those who don't are going to be more and more excluded. It's a discrimination for sure. But in many ways, that's a problem. And not the least of which is that we're all paying for those people to have their lifestyle choices. I do have to hastily add here that we did a NOVA show. I'm a correspondent for NOVA. And sometimes this is genetic, and sometimes there's some factors beyond these people's control. It's in a small percentage of cases, but we shouldn't forget that that's part of what's going on here sometimes.
I'd just like to add, by the way, there's some genes that can be turned on that can activate the physiology where you can sit, play video games all you want, get up, run a marathon, never get fat. Look at the work of Ron Evans at Scripps Research Institute. He's cloned the first human gene, by the way, as part of his historical. Ron Evans at Scripps.
Genes or not, it still ultimately comes down to a caloric balance. Calories out.
You can activate oxidative phosphorylation and drive metabolism.
Calories up.
Yeah, you can burn as many calories. There are some people that are born with the ability to fry calories, and you can activate those genes.
Today at the City Club, we've been listening to a special program featuring David Ewing Duncan, Elizabeth Sump, and Marc Pelletier. Thank you all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This program is now adjourned.